Hare Krishna. So today we are seeing from Srimad Bhagavatam approaching Lord with material desires. And my name is Isvari Laxmi Priya dasi, following the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. So we are looking at Srimad Bhagavatam, especially Canto 5 and Canto 6, but also we will bring some parallel example from other sides of the Shastras as well. First of all, the question might arise, why do people approach God? So from Bhagavad Gita, we see Krishna says that there are four kinds of people with piety. They approach God, and that is from 7.16. The sloka goes like this. Chaturvida bhajante mam janah sukritino arjuna arto jigna shurartarthi jnani cha bharadarshava. So this verse talks about four kinds of people who are motivated to approach God, and you can see that there is there is a kind of selfish motivation. We can see that existence of selfish motivation, which is all right. So Krishna accepts them also. So artha means those who are distressed, and then jignashuhu, that means one who inquisitive, and then there is a third one arthati, so who are desiring for wealth, and then jnani, who is seeking the knowledge for perfection. So one may again ask the next question. So if you are approaching God with selfish motivation, that does it mean is it condemned? So we are not supposed to ask or approach God with material desires. See, from Krishna's Bhagavad Gita, from this text 7.16, chapter 7, sloka 16, we can clearly see, yes, they can approach. It's no problem approaching Krishna at all. So, what will happen though? There is always the benefit, like how there are side benefits. You approach God, you will always get purified, no matter what your intentions were, but we get purified, right? So, Krishna accepts everybody, even if you have material desire or no material desire, but that could be a starting point. That's the thing. But the next step would be purification process. So anartha nivarti, so bhajana kriya, anartha nivarti, sadhu sangha. So these are the steps we can go from one level to a next level, so that we get the bhava and prema stage at the end, which is love for Krishna. But again, for general perspective, for the general public, if we go and talk to them about love for Krishna or love for God, they might not be at that level of understanding God or love for Godhead. Therefore, for them, all about is everything is about them, their loved ones, their extended loved ones, like that. So here we see the first example, Priyavarta. This is very highly exemplified, devotee here. So he is the son of Swayambhu Manu, and Swayambhu Manu is the son of Brahma. So Priyavarta, even though he was young, he was so interested in renunciations or detachment from this royal opulence and worldly affairs. So, under the guidance of Narada Muni, he actually adopted brahmachari lifestyle, and then he went to the woods and started meditating on the absolute truth. And he was not at all interested in any kind of royal affairs. However, there was a situation where Priyavarta has to come back to the palace and rule the Bhumandala. Therefore, Lord Brahma, he himself came down, because Priyavrata was approached initially by Swayambhu Manu, but Priyavrata was very stubborn that he doesn't want to go back to the kingdom, nor was he interested in ruling the kingdom. Therefore, Brahma intervened and advised Priyavrata that this is consider this as a service to the Lord and rule the world, because you are very well qualified, and you have this balance of vairagya and kshatra. So that means you have this renunciation as well as kingly power. So we know you will not misuse the royal opulence, but because you have this spiritual strength, you're more than capable of ruling this Bhumandala. And this is also the desire of Lord. So then Priyavrata agreed to come back and get into the Grihastha life. So he was, so Prabhupada says in the purport 5.1.8 that he was not only capable materially, but he had the spiritual strength to remain unaffected by royal opulence. So here we see that from King Priyavrata's example that even though he was renunciant at the beginning, he was actually born in this royal order, but then he became a renunciant. But he doesn't want to go back to the kingdom, nor he wanted to accept any responsibility. But when he understood this was the desire of the Lord, he gave up his own desire to continue to be a renunciant, and he accepted Lord's desire as his own, and then he went back to the kingdom, and he did his service as a grahastha, as a king of the Bhumandala, entire Bhumandala. So Prabhupada again says in another purport 5.1.33 that a pure devotee does not act to fulfill his own desires but to satisfy the Supreme Lord. So this is an extreme a case study that where we can learn that initially we started this discussion by telling that you can approach the Lord with any material desire, but all of a sudden we are jumping into a renunciant coming back to the material life. This is it's totally in contrast. Yes, it is true. So we can see the one extreme of to the extreme where devotees would go to satisfy the will of the Lord. So this is where we should aim to go to, but at least to start with, it's not wrong that to approach the Lord with material desire. And in another example from Canto 5 again, so we see from Bharata Maharaj, definitely he was the king of the earth, and then he wanted to renunciate everything, so he gave up his wife, children, kingdom, and everything, and went to the woods, the forest, and started to meditate on the absolute truth. Is so far so good, but what happened then was after that he became attached to the deity. So there was a little bit of lingering material desire, right? Even though it was not intentional, it became like a natural. It became natural for King Bharat Maharaj that he fell in love with this little deer, baby deer, and then started to live the life for the deer instead of living life for his object of love or object of worshipable object, which is Krishna. So he forgot about that for even though it was a very short period of time where he became attached to the deer, but it was the very time when he died by thinking of the deer. So he had to take birth as a deer again. Not again, but he had to take birth as a deer. Therefore, he lost one lifetime where he could have been elevated and went to Vaikuntha Loka, but instead he had to come back to the material world again just because he had that lingering material desire. So we need to understand, even though we start off with asking for some material benefits from the Lord, but remember that even if we had any residual of this material desire at the time of a death, then simple is that we have to take birth again, and we have to come back to this material world and start all over again. But fortunately, swalpa apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. But as per Krishna's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, this verse reassures that material life, yes, you have to start from zero, day zero, money zero, education zero, everything you start from square one or zero. But with the spiritual account, you will just simply continue from where you left. For example, if you have accumulated the sukriti of bhakti sukriti of 25%, then you start from 26%. Simple as that. But with education or material opulence, you start from where you not where you left, but rather you start from the square one. But in Bharata Maharaj's case, we can see that even though he had good intention at the beginning, but circumstantially he had to fell for the fate, the destiny, and he had to, take birth again as a deer. However, in the following lifetime, took birth as a Jada Bharat, and he was so clear in his motto, that mission, that yes, now I'm very clear, I don't want to waste another lifetime. So he was very particular in his behavior, or in his actions, or in his words, that how a devotee should lead a life. So he was almost Avanti Brahmana, similar to Avadhutas. Sorry. So here Krishna shows mercy, because Bharata Maharaj became the deer, and then the deer became Jada Bharat. Then he achieved perfection, therefore he went back to the spiritual world, we see from Bhagavatam Canto 5. And it only shows that how merciful Lord is, and how many repeated opportunities he is willing to give us, so that we attain this perfection of life. So we also see from Ajamila's story, where he unconsciously chanted, not for the purpose of chanting Lord's name, but rather his son's name was named after Lord Narayana. So therefore he called out his son's name, it is Narayana, at the time of his death. But because of just that utterance of the name, holy name of the Lord, he was given another chance. So this is how Krishna actually helps us to overcome this material desires, or material cycle of birth and death. So we see this from Canto 6. Krishna, it's not about action, but Krishna values our intention, and brings our spiritual platform level up, so that we go to the next level of spiritual enlightenment. So from this verse, where we see here Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 10, Akamaha sarvakama va mokshakama udarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. Whether one is free of desires, full of desires, or desiring liberation, one should approach the Supreme Lord with a broad and open mind. So we saw the example there from the Bhagavad Gita 7.16, Chaturvida Bhajante Mam, that 4 kinds of pious people approach the Lord with 4 different reasons, right? So here again we see the 4 different reasons that God can be approached by us. That is, one with full of desires, or with no desires, or one desiring liberation. So akamaha, sarvakama, mokshakama. So the 3 here, actually not 4 but 3. So whatever the case may be, do you have desire? Approach Lord. You don't have desire? Approach Lord. You want to have moksha, you have desire to attain moksha, approach Lord. So whatever that is, but be open and broad-minded. That's what it says. So we can see some examples here who approach Lord without any desires, like Narada Muni. He's one of the pure devotees. He has no material desires. Only he desires he has is to serve the Lord. And see from Dhruva Maharaj's example, even though he's coming from great lineage, from Brahma, Swayambhu Manu, that lineage, he still, because of some misunderstanding or the situation where his stepmother behaved in a way that provoked Dhruva's ego, false ego, therefore he wanted a position higher than Lord Brahma. That means he wanted all the material opulence that he could have. That means greater than Brahma, meaning what? So he sarvakama, all material desires. So for that, even though Dhruva approached the Lord, but still what happened? Because of the association or intervention by a sadhu, that is Narada Muni in this case, he was purified. His ambition, he had the ambition that to attain that such great material position, but the action was purified. Later, intention became purified. Then he totally became purified overall. Therefore, he became a devotee of the Lord. Right. So this is how the devotees help us. So sadhu sangha, why it is more important? Sadhu Sangha, Sarvasastra hoye, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarvasiddhi haye. So even fraction of second, if you associate with a devotee of the Lord, pure devotee of the Lord, what happens? You know everything. You will come to know whatever that you have to know from this universe or Shastras, you will come to know. So that is the power of Sadhu Sangha. And Moksha Kama. So Moksha Kama means the one who desires for liberation. So we see from 4 Kumaras, they always desired for that liberation and surrender to the Lord. So therefore, so there's nothing wrong approaching the Lord. After all, He is the Aham Bija Pradapitaha. So He is the seed-giving Father of everybody. Therefore, it's nothing wrong to approach our own Father than anybody else, right? Than the Devi Devadas or our biological father, mother, or relatives or friends. We can directly approach the Lord. So Udaradihi, so the noble intelligence desiring the Lord. So what we have to do, so we see from Prahlad Maharaj also, he only desired for devotion to the Lord, and he exemplified and showed, exhibited through his actions also. And Ambarish Maharaj had this Tivra Bhakti Yogena, so he had this intense devotional practice which even intimidated Dhruvasa Muni, and we know that pastime where Dhruvasa Muni was able to access Vaikuntha Loka, but he cannot stay there because he's not a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, he has this mystic power, Siddhic power, to go to Kailash or Satyaloka or even Vaikuntha Loka, but only the purpose of his purpose of his going to all these lokas to maintain his life here. That's all. He doesn't want to die. Therefore, he goes to anywhere it takes to make sure that he doesn't die. So that shows that he is not a pure devotee. Rather, he is materialistic, and all he needs is just to live without any proper ambition in his life, which is, there is absence of understanding what's the real purpose of life. So then, King Ambarish, what he did, he forgave Dhruvasa Muni. But even though he didn't like obviously or explicitly he forgave, he actually was innocently waiting for the entire year until this Durvasa Muni traveled all over these lokas, different lokas, and finally coming back, he didn't break the Dwadasi, Ekadasi fasting properly, but rather drank a bit of tulsi water, but still waiting for Durvasa Muni to come back so he can have the food with him. So this is the humility that Ambarish Maharaj showed. So that's Tivrena Bhakti. Unless you have this devotion, Hrishikesa Shevanam, that is the Lord's mercy to control our senses, will not exist. So normally people, you ask anyone who wanted to control their senses, it can be temporarily done, yes, without intervention of anything like Lord's. Of course, Lord's mercy is everywhere. Without Lord's mercy, not even a blade of grass would move. But for people who are following atheism, for example, and who still want to fast for detoxifying their body or something like that, they control their senses, yes, because Krishna as Paramatma residing in Sarvas, Hridisanni Vistaha, Sarvacha Saham, Hridisanni Vistaha. So Krishna resides in everyone's heart as Paramatma. Therefore, he helps us whatever we desire, right? Therefore, even if he is an atheist, if he is able, he wanted to control his senses, yes, Krishna allows. But then, if Krishna can help the atheists, what to speak of devotees who are practicing Tivra Bhakti, that intense devotion, like Ambarish Maharaj, we can see. And because Hrishikesha is the master of senses after all, right? And so we saw Dhruva Maharaj as an example from Canto 4.8, and also we see some other examples here, that Gajendra, right? He also desired for life, so he doesn't want to die, so he prayed for protection, but he actually finally surrendered to the Lord, like Draupadi or Gajendra, they were waiting for their loved ones or relatives or friends to come save them. But when they realized, no, this is not going to happen, then they finally and fully surrendered to the Lord without any second thought. So that is when Lord also came and rescued them, because it's, if we are like one foot on the water, one foot on the boat, we can't survive. It has to be 2 feet either on the boat, either on the water, right? Like of course, if you are on the water, you need to know how to swim. But just for an analogy point of view, so Gajendra or Draupadi, they knew at the end of the situation, no, nobody is going to come save me, so I have to surrender to the Lord. And Lord did come save them. And Kunti Maharani, what she desired, in contrast to anyone else's desired so far we discussed, she wanted more and more problems in her life. Why? So that she can remember Krishna, and Krishna can come look after them, so she can have personal darshan of Krishna or personal intervention of Krishna, the divine intervention. So for that purpose, she wanted more and more calamities. So who will pray for that? Who is as advanced as Kunti Maharani? So we see that from Mahabharata, or more precisely in Srimad Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam always talk about Bhagavan, Bhakta and Bhakti. So therefore we can see the good qualities, or the divine devotional qualities of such devotees like Kunti Maharani. Because it's based on Mahabharatam, it's not based on Bhakti, but it's more based on Dharma, Artha, Kama, or some moksha also. But Bhagavatam full and full based on Bhakti only. Therefore, Bhagavan, Bhakti and Bhaktas. So Ramayana also, Kaikeyi approached Lord Rama for her own selfishness, for her own son Bharata to get the throne. So Dhritarashtra also wanted Duryodhana to become the next king. But what happened was, is the difference between Kaikeyi and Dhritarashtra was, both were somehow both had somehow crooked mindedness. But then Dhritarashtra did not approach the Lord. Lord Krishna was present at that time, but he did not approach the Lord, but Kaikeyi did. But also another reason why she did, because only if Rama is exiled, then there is a vacant position where Bharata can become the next king. For that reason, mainly she wanted Rama, she banned Rama. And Kubcha, we see from this 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, even though she was a humble lady, then by the mercy of the Lord, she became a beautiful lady. But because she had this work, the nature of work to give pleasure to the men. So, because she was working as a prostitute, she wanted to serve the Lord, but through the way how she knows, what she knows, and that is to give personal pleasure to the Lord. But everybody, whoever we have seen so far and more, from Bhagavatam, we see from other Puranas also, see that if you approach the Lord, it's a guaranteed that we will be purified, because Lord is after all Bhavagrahi. So he accepts the mood of devotee. If you are in Vatsalya Bhav, parental mood, okay, he accepts you as his parent. Okay, if you are in Madhurya Bhav, then he accepts you as in a conjugal love, in that mood. So whatever it is, Shanta Bhav, Shanta Rasha, Sakya Rasha, Madhurya Rasha, Vatsalya Rasha, whatever that is, he actually accepts you as you are. All he needs is our love and affection. And even with we have some selfish motivation, it is fine. Anya Abhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavratam Rishikesha Hirshikena Sevadam Bhakti Ruchate. Sarva Upadi Vinirmuktam Nitparatvena Nirmalam Anukulyena Krishna Anusilanam Bhakti Uchyate. Anya Abhilashiti Sunyam Bhakti Uttama, that is Uttama Bhakti. Here Bhakti Uchyate. Sarva Upadi Vinitam. Whatever it is, so if you don't have any motivation, then it is perfect. But even if you have some motivation, it is not bad. It's fine. At least you have to start somewhere. Start with that material desire. That's not wrong. But transformation is guaranteed. We will be purified because of the devotees association. So Srila Prabhupada says here, one may come to Krishna consciousness for some material gain, but if he continues to associate with devotees, his desires become purified. So Rishabhadev, we know he is an incarnation of the Lord, and he does acknowledge, okay, for ordinary people having material desires is okay, but what is that he especially advises is detachment from this desire gradually, and urges us to engage in devotional service to transcend from these material obligations or desires, right? So even in our daily life, we see that when someone is childless, they pray for the child. They pray to the Lord for begetting a child, right? Like Nabi did that. Chitraketu Maharaj did that. Dasharatha Maharaj did that. So we see from so many case studies from Puranas, Bhagavata Purana, Ramayana, Itihasas, we see that yes, they did ask for some material gains, right? It is not wrong. So as long as our worshipping is towards Krishna, that automatically purifies our intentions, actions, and the benefits. And see, even for example, if we are in the middle of some calamities or reversals in our life or natural disasters, pandemics, whatever it is, we do approach the Lord because of fear. So for so many reasons, we approach Lord out of fear, out of material gains. So many reasons, and here the Devatas also did do that, right? We see from time to time Devatas approach the Lord whenever there is some crisis. For example, we see from Ramayana, Ravana was torturing, he was doing all these atrocities and disturbing the yajnas that are being performed by rishis and munis in the sacred places. But he needs to be annihilated. For that, no one had strength, so they approached Lord Vishnu, right? So we see that, and even for political conflicts like Diti, for example, so she also had that surrendering mood. So whether we have these negative desires or for our own gains, if we approach the Lord, then as I said, transformation is guaranteed. Then eventually we become pure devotees over the time. So what lessons we learn from this episode is approach the Lord sincerely, whether it's for material or spiritual. He will reciprocate. Yatamam te prapadyante. Ye yatamam prapadyante. So he reciprocates. And association with sadhus also very important. So that will gradually purifies our motivation. And so how Ambrish Maharaj engaged all his senses in Lord's service, like that we also must engage our senses in Lord's service. Mouth for talking about Lord, Kirtanam, ears for hearing Shravanam about Lord, and then eyes for taking darshan of the Lord. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedinam. So 9 process of bhakti given already. So we can choose any one or all of them or any combination, so that we can approach Lord in the right mood with for the right reasons, and then we can attain the right loka, so right destination. So thank you very much. I end here, and we see you next time. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.